My wife gave me divorce papers while I was in the hospital recovering, saying, "I'm not wasting my best years taking care of you." I signed them without blinking and replied, "You just made a decision you'll fear later." 2 months later, a nurse from that same hospital called me with something that changed everything. I'm 36, and up until 3 months ago, I thought I had a solid marriage. 8 years together, no kids yet, because we were waiting for the right time. I work in software development. She works in corporate marketing. We had the house, the cars, the plans. Everything looked perfect from the outside. Then I had the accident. It was a Saturday morning in early March. I was riding my motorcycle to meet some friends for breakfast when a driver ran a red light and T-boned me at an intersection. I don't remember the impact, just waking up in the ICU 3 days later with a shattered femur, broken ribs, and a concussion. The doctor said I was lucky to be alive. My wife was there when I woke up. She looked tired, stressed, but she held my hand and told me everything would be okay. The first few days were a blur of pain medication and surgeries. They had to put rods in my leg, and the recovery timeline was brutal. Minimum 6 months before I could walk normally, maybe a year before I could return to my active lifestyle. I was transferred to a regular room after 5 days. That's when things started to shift. She visited less frequently. When she did come, she seemed distant, checking her phone constantly, leaving early. I tried to understand. She was working full-time, managing the house alone, dealing with insurance companies and medical bills. It was a lot. 2 weeks into my hospital stay, she came in on a Tuesday evening. I could tell something was different immediately. She wasn't carrying her usual tote bag with snacks and magazines. She had a manila folder. She sat down in the chair next to my bed, not close enough to touch me. "We need to talk," she said. Those 4 words. I felt my chest tighten despite the pain medication. "Okay," I said. She opened the folder and pulled out papers. Divorce papers. I could see the header from where I was lying. "I've been thinking a lot over the past 2 weeks," she started. "About us. About our future. About what I want from my life." I just stared at her, waiting. "I'm not wasting my best years taking care of you. I'm 32. I want to travel, build my career, actually live my life. Not spend the next year being your nurse." The clinical way she said it, like she was presenting a business case, hit harder than the accident. "You're divorcing me while I'm in a hospital bed. I'm being honest with you. Isn't that better than pretending and resenting you later?" I looked at the papers, then back at her. "How long have you been planning this? Does it matter?" "Yeah, it does." She sighed. "I started thinking about it before the accident. We've been drifting for a while. You know that." This just made everything clearer. Clearer how? I can't do this. The caretaking, the recovery, the limitations. I want someone who can keep up with me. Someone who's present and active and not broken. That word. Broken. I should have been angry. Should have yelled, thrown something, caused a scene. Instead, I felt completely calm. Clear even. "Give me a pen," I said. "What?" "Give me a pen. Let's do this now." She looked surprised. "Don't you want to read through them? Talk to a lawyer?" "Why? You've clearly made up your mind. And honestly, you just showed me exactly who you are. Give me the pen." She handed me one from her purse. I flipped through the papers. Standard dissolution, assets split relatively evenly, no alimony because we both worked. I signed every page that needed my signature. Took me maybe 5 minutes. "There," I said, handing them back. "You're free." She stood there holding the papers, looking confused, like she'd expected me to beg or fight. "That's it. What else is there to say? You just made a decision you'll fear later. But that's your problem now, not mine." What's that supposed to mean? It means you're about to learn a very expensive lesson about what actually matters. But like I said, not my problem anymore. She left. Didn't say goodbye, didn't look back. Just walked out with her folder of papers, and that was it. 8 years over in a hospital room in under 10 minutes. Update 1. The nursing staff was incredible after she left. I didn't tell them what happened, but they must have noticed she stopped coming. One nurse in particular, mid-40s, kind eyes, started spending extra time in my room. Not in a romantic way, just checking on me beyond the medical necessities. Asking how I was doing, bringing me better food from the cafeteria, helping me with phone calls to insurance companies. I was in the hospital for another 3 weeks. During that time, I started physical therapy, learned to use a walker, and began the long process of accepting my new reality. My friends visited. My brother flew in for a week, but she never came back. never even texted. The divorce was finalized 6 weeks after she served me the papers. Fast-tracked because we agreed on everything and had no kids. I got the notification from my lawyer while I was at my brother's house, where I'd been staying since getting discharged. It's done, my lawyer said. House sale proceeds will be split once it closes. Everything else is divided per the agreement. I thanked him and hung up. My brother asked if I was okay. Yeah, I said. I actually am. And I meant it. The betrayal hurt, but it was almost a relief. I'd rather know who someone really is than waste more years with a person who saw me as an accessory to her life instead of a partner. I focused on recovery. Physical therapy 4 times a week. Learning to walk again. Slowly rebuilding my strength. I worked remotely from my brother's guest room, grateful my job was flexible and my team was supportive. 2 months after she walked out of that hospital room, I got a call from an unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Hello. Hi, is this him? A woman's voice, unfamiliar. This is he. This is the nurse from the hospital. I was one of your primary care nurses during your stay. I'm so sorry to call out of the blue, but I felt like I needed to tell you something. My mind went to the kind nurse who'd looked after me. Is everything okay? It's about your wife. Well, ex-wife now, I guess. I probably shouldn't be telling you this, but after what she did to you while you were in that hospital bed, I felt like you deserved to know. My heart started racing. Know what? She's been admitted here. Came in through the ER 3 days ago. I saw her chart when I was covering a different floor. Is she okay? She's stable now, but it's serious. She was in a car accident. Pretty bad one. They had to do surgery on her spine. The prognosis is uncertain. They're talking months of recovery, possibly permanent mobility issues. I sat down on the couch, trying to process this. Why are you telling me this? Because she's been asking for you. Repeatedly. She gave them your number as her emergency contact. Guess she never updated her forms. But when they called, I assume you didn't answer? I checked my recent calls. 3 missed calls from the hospital's main number over the past few days. I'd assumed they were billing or follow-up calls for my own treatment. I didn't realize it was about her, I said. She's alone. No other visitors from what I've seen. Her parents are overseas and can't get back for another week. And I heard her on the phone earlier trying to call someone, crying, saying she made a terrible mistake. Update 2. I thanked the nurse and sat there for a long time after hanging up. My brother came in and asked what was wrong. I told him, "You're not actually considering going there," he said. "I don't know. She divorced you in a hospital bed. She literally said she wasn't going to waste her best years taking care of you. And now she wants you to come take care of her. I know how it sounds. It sounds insane. You owe her nothing." He was right. Logically, I knew he was right. But I couldn't shake this feeling. Not sympathy exactly. More like curiosity. I wanted to see who she was now. If she'd learned anything. If karma was really as straightforward as it seemed. Against my brother's advice, I went to the hospital the next morning. I could walk with a cane now, still limping but mobile. I made my way to her floor and found her room number. Stood outside for a full minute before knocking. "Come in," her voice said, weak and hoarse. I opened the door. She was lying in the bed, neck brace on, her leg elevated in traction. When she saw me, she started crying immediately. "You came," she said. "The nurse called me. Said you were asking for me. I didn't think you would actually show up. After everything I did." I stayed by the door, one hand on my cane. "What happened?" "Car accident. Someone ran a stop sign. My car flipped. They had to operate on my back. They're saying 6 months minimum recovery, maybe longer. Might have permanent nerve damage in my right leg." The irony was so thick I almost laughed. Almost. "I'm sorry that happened to you," I said, and I meant it. "Are you?" She looked at me, mascara running down her face. "Because I wouldn't blame you if you weren't. I wouldn't blame you if you came here just to tell me I deserve this. Is that what you think? That you deserve this?" I don't know what I think anymore. I've had a lot of time to think this past week. About what I did. About who I am. I was so cruel to you. Yes, you were. I'm sorry. I know that doesn't mean anything now, but I'm so sorry. I was selfish and horrible, and I threw away the best thing in my life because I was scared and stupid. I pulled up a chair and sat down, my leg grateful for the rest. "Why did you really leave?" She closed her eyes. "Because I was terrified. Terrified of what our life would look like if you couldn't fully recover. Terrified that I'd be trapped taking care of you forever. Terrified that I'd lose myself in the process. So I ran. I convinced myself it was about wanting freedom and living my life, but really I was just a coward. You could have just said that. We could have talked about it. Would it have changed anything? Maybe not. But at least you wouldn't have made me feel worthless while I was at my lowest. She was sobbing now, really sobbing. I know. And now I'm here, and I'm alone, and I understand. I understand what I did to you. What it feels like to be abandoned when you need someone most. I sat there watching her cry, feeling nothing. Not satisfaction, not anger, not pity. Just emptiness. I forgive you, I said finally. She looked up, shocked. What? I forgive you. Not because you deserve it, but because I need to let this go. Holding on to anger isn't helping me heal. Does this mean, could we maybe try again? Start over. And there it was. The real reason she wanted me here. No, I said simply. But you just said you forgive me. Forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. I forgive you for my peace, not yours. What you did showed me exactly who you are when things get hard. And I deserve better than that. Please. I've changed. This experience changed me. Maybe it did. But that's something you need to figure out on your own. I'm not your redemption arc. Update 3. I stood up to leave. She called out to me. Wait. Are you really just going to leave me here? Alone? I turned back to her. You have nurses. You have doctors. Your parents are coming. You'll have everything you need medically. But no, I'm not staying. I'm not going to be your caretaker out of guilt or obligation or because karma gave you a taste of your own medicine. That's cold. Is it? You literally divorced me rather than support me through recovery. I'm just maintaining the boundary you established. I was wrong. I admitted I was wrong. You're only sorry because now you're the one in the hospital bed. If you'd made a full recovery by now, and I called you asking to get back together, would you have said yes? She didn't answer. She couldn't. That's what I thought, I said. I hope you do recover. I genuinely do. And I hope you learn from this. But I'm not the person who's going to hold your hand through it. I walked out. Heard her crying as I left. Felt nothing. My brother picked me up from the hospital parking lot. How'd it go? Exactly how it needed to, I said. The next week, she tried calling me twice. I didn't answer. She sent a long text about how she understood if I couldn't be with her romantically, but could we at least be friends? Could I at least visit occasionally? She was so lonely and scared. I replied, I hope you find the support you need, but I'm not the person to provide it. Take care of yourself. Then I blocked her number. Final update. It's been 4 months since that hospital visit. I'm walking without a cane now, back to working full-time at the office, even started riding a motorcycle again, a different one, but still. My physical recovery is almost complete. I heard through mutual friends that she did recover, mostly. She's walking again, but with a permanent limp and chronic pain. She had to move in with her parents because she couldn't afford her rent while not working. Lost her corporate job due to extended absence. Last I heard, she was doing remote freelance work and going to therapy. Part of me feels bad for her. Part of me thinks she learned an important lesson the hardest way possible. Mostly, I just don't think about her anymore. I've been on a few dates. Nothing serious yet, but I'm not rushing. I'm focusing on myself, on my recovery, on rebuilding my life in a way that feels authentic and whole. The nurse who called me, the one who told me about my ex's accident, reached out a few weeks ago, asked if I wanted to grab coffee sometime. She's divorced too, as teenage kids, seems grounded and kind. We've had coffee twice now. It's nice. Easy. No pressure. Just two people who've been through hard things enjoying each other's company. I don't know if anything will come of it, but I'm open to finding out. As for my ex, I hope she's okay. I hope she heals, physically and emotionally. I hope she finds someone who can give her what she needs. But that person isn't me. Will never be me again. Sometimes I think about that moment in the hospital when she handed me those divorce papers. How it felt like my world was ending. How broken and abandoned and worthless I felt. Now I realize she did me a favor. She showed me who she really was before we had kids, before we were even more entangled. She freed me to find something real with someone who won't run when things get hard. I didn't get revenge. Life did that for me. I just chose not to save her from the consequences of her own choices. And honestly, that feels like the rightest thing I've ever done. Edit. A lot of people are asking if I feel guilty for not helping her. Sometimes, yeah. But then I remember her exact words. I'm not wasting my best years taking care of you. And the guilt disappears. I gave her exactly what she wanted. Freedom from obligation to support a partner through hardship. Edit 2. Someone asked if the nurse calling me was ethical. Probably not technically, but I'm glad she did. It gave me closure I didn't know I needed.